watching Fanzpo, and today I'm here with writer Justin Jordan.
Hello.
Justin, it's been a while since I last seen you, maybe almost a year ago.
Yeah, I think it was last March, so it's coming up on a year.
And at that point you were wrapping up The Strange Town of Luther Strode. Might I add that you were actually a Harvey nominee for it for Best Promising New Talent. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And since then you've been on a roll. You've done Shadow Man, Team 7, you're also working on Deathstroke, and you're working on a second edition to this of the Luther Strode one called The Legacy of Luther Strode.
Nope, the second one's Legend of Luther. The third one will be Legacy of Luther Strode. So.
Excuse me. So, how do you keep everything in balance between doing different titles and keeping up with the scheduling and whatnot?
Tremendous amounts of cocaine. No, it's not too bad. Like I'm on 3 ongoing things right now, and it basically I can kind of devote if everything works out, I can kind of devote a week to each one, which is usually enough time. Now, what actually happens in real life, because that's the theoretical ideal, is that stuff ends up due at the same time, so you end up kind of like working on like 10 pages a day and that kind of stuff. But for the most part, it's not too bad to juggle that kind of a schedule.
So basically, what's the most titles you ever worked on at one time, like within like a month or so?
Well, I wrote 2.5 issues on 3 different things last week, so that probably, yeah. I usually do when I've gotten myself to the up and running like I like to go. I like to do like 5 pages a day on 2 different titles, like 5 days a week. So I actually like to get like 50 pages a week done if I can. But I couldn't do that on like one book. Like I couldn't probably write 50 pages of Deathstroke in 1 week and have it even vaguely coherent. But when you're splitting it across multiple titles, it's not as bad. So it's not more overwhelming to have more titles. It's actually better because that way you can actually switch gears a little bit and give your brain a break for one. Yeah, and it's one of those things where there's a certain level. Like for me, it would be difficult to write 1 book. Just because you've got nothing else to do, so it kind of, once you're done, you either need to go right into the next issue, you don't have a lot of time to breathe, or you just sit and you're kind of idle, which is not great for my creative process anyhow. So, yeah, I actually like working on multiple things. And I got usually 4 or 5 different things I'm working on. I'm not going to do any more than like 3 ongoings, like that's enough, but I like to do creator-owned stuff, minis and stuff that I've got slotted into that 4th position, and then I do whatever else. Like I said, the nature of it means that I work on a lot of stuff in any given month, but...
So roughly how many hours are you putting in per day, roughly?
That's a good question. The actual writing, like the actual sitting down and doing the script pages, doesn't take that long. I can usually write 5 pages in anywhere from half an hour to an hour. So that part of it's probably 2 hours a day, but it ends up being 8 to 12 hours a day just because all the other stuff that goes into it. Like that's one of the things that, like, before you actually start doing it, especially when you start doing it professionally, when you realize that you're doing that, there's an awful lot of talking to editors, writing outlines, rewriting stuff, checking proofs, like all that, and it just eats up time. So what I try to do is I actually try to get out of bed and like eat, and then try to get my script pages done first, and then the rest of the day is the other stuff.
Yeah, so you're not always, you can't just count the time that you're banging the keys.
No.
You're constantly thinking about what you're going to be writing, and you're talking with all the different people along the process between the editor and the writers, and the artist as well.
Yeah, and
that doesn't really get counted for as you're typing.
There have been weeks where I have had been on the phone like 20 hours, like just over the course of a week, just because you need to talk to this editor, talk to that editor, talk to the artist, or sometimes, and that kind of stuff. And especially when you get on like conference calls, they're like 3, 4 people all talking at once. They just take forever. So yeah, it eats up a lot of time. And it's the same way with like answering emails and all that kind of stuff, and just checking, making sure everything's on schedule. Especially when you're doing like I'm doing the stuff with Legend of Luther Strode. So like last night I got like proofs that I had to go over after I got in to that kind of stuff. So that that stuff has to be done when it has to be done. So
Yeah.
you need to do it. And with like the creator and stuff with Image, you're kind of like doing most of the roles. Like I'm the de facto editor on that, so I need to make sure that the lettering's right, and you know that the pages are coming in on time, and that we're getting them the Image when we need to get them, and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
So you're always busy. Is there anything else you plan on adding to your docket that you already can't be? I mean, do you have room to add anything else? And do you have any plans for anything new coming out?
Yeah, well, I have a project. I have a project that is already in midstream that hasn't been announced yet. That's a mini, so that'll be out. I don't know when that's going to be announced, but that's from a fairly major publisher. So that I'm working on that in my quote-unquote spare time. That's what's taken up part of my non-ongoing book time. Yeah, I got other stuff. I'm pitching some stuff. I got 2 series with some big artists that I hope will get picked up and all that kind of stuff. Like right now, February has been like a weirdly busy month just because I ended up doing a lot of traveling that I hadn't anticipated doing when I started scheduling stuff. That stuff came up. So I'm on the road like 16 days this month. And the way my schedule has worked out, I've got to do a lot of writing in that same interim too. Like February or March should be back to like my normal kind of schedule.
Nice.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get some pitches ready. I got 2 things that we're trying to work out, pitching and stuff. And then once they're pitched, I gotta try to work when I'm gonna get pages to the artist, that sort of thing.
Well, there you have it. Not a guy who's just an awesome beer, but an awesome writer as well. Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.